Hi, are you still there? Sorry, we didn't have any audio going. We are back for another episode of Argos TV, and this is going to be a really fun one. First, we're going to show an episode of Beewise Gardens that we produced for them last year on garden plotting and showing all the tools and books that they use to create the amazing garden plots that they do. They're just amazing. We miss Isabella and Gabriella. I hope that we get a chance to create some more content with them in their gardens. Here, Gabriella has bought a new house, and I can't wait to see what she does with her new yard. So we'll be watching that, and then we'll come back and talk to Jeston, who will be singing to us. So I guess he'll say a few words, and then he will play some music on the piano and sing to us. We will then go with an episode of My Idaho Friends, episode 13, season 2. We are talking to the owner of Lionheart Consulting, and I forgot her name because I practiced so hard trying to remember her Instagram handle at Lionheart Consulting. Her Rebecca Leone. Her name is Rebecca Leone. She was fabulous when she was in here, and I can't wait for you to see this great episode of My Idaho Friends. Then we will close out the evening right here. You get to come back and you can watch me finish working on this throne for the Idaho Regional Ballet's Nutcracker. They asked me to be their stage manager this year. We will be streaming the platform on their website for them. We will provide that link for you so that you can go on and purchase tickets for December 11th. There's 2 shows. One will be at 2 p.m. and one will be at 7 p.m. So you'll be able to watch them through the stream on their website. Tickets purchased on their website. I'm really excited about this because they asked me to do this throne, and I'm trying really hard to focus on telling you what's going on and not look down and keep working on this beautiful gold portion. It's just been a blessing to me. I've enjoyed every second of it. I've gotten to work with a wonderful family, the Star family. Their son, he did this as an Eagle Scout project, and I get to finish doing the decorations on it, trying to do some texture, trying to have some fun. So I'm going to work on this for a little bit. We'll be back with Jeston after Beewise Gardens.
Hi, it's Gabrielle from Beewise Gardens.
And Isabel, and today we're going to talk about how to design a landscape, why you might want to design your landscape or have someone else design it for you.
And why that's important, because sometimes we all just kind of wing it. You're at a store, you're like, oh, I want that plan, or that looks pretty, or that would go great in this hole I have because something died. And so a lot of times you'll just buy things and plant them and buy things and plant them, and then one day you kind of run into, oh, this doesn't really look like anything, or what was that died, or you just have these questions about what you've done when you don't have some kind of a plan.
And one key component to having a plan, whether it's a little patio garden or a full-on landscape, is your irrigation system. And what we've heard and also experienced ourselves is if we don't have our irrigation system dialed in to work, to water the plants that we've planted or plan on planting, then we don't have as much, we always find that we don't have as much time to water, or a client says, oh yeah, I'll get out there and I'll water it every day.
You just plant it, all hand water it, and then you don't.
And the time slips away. And so it's really helpful just to get that out of the way right in the beginning.
Absolutely.
So that is one super great benefit of having a design done for you or doing it yourself.
Right.
Is making sure your irrigation system is set up and ready to go.
Right, exactly. And then kind of, even if you have like future plans. So perfect example is, say you buy a house and it has a sprinkler system in place, and that sprinkler system is either set back and it sprays through beds onto grass, or it's set up at the edge of a lawn and it sprays the lawn. and then there's some kind of other system, watering shrubs or landscape plants that you may have already in place. Is there's always a way to edit. And well, first you do an audit where you pop all your sprinklers at different times, say, oh, this is what this waters, this is what this waters, this is watering nothing, or I want to get rid of this. And so you kind of audit everything and make notes, and then you can go back and make edits. So now if that isn't something that you're capable of doing, or you don't want to look up YouTube videos, then definitely you hire a professional to do it, and they can come in and you can say, hey, it's not going to be this season I'm going to save up and I want to just deal with my water. So I want this to be perennial borders, or I want this to be berries, or I want this to be a vegetable garden, and in next season. So what, and then you would ask that professional, what should I do, or what will you do, and then how much will that be to get this set up for the following season. And then you, in the long run, it seems like you spend more money to do this kind of thing because there's an initial upfront cost. But in the long run, you're going to save money. You're going to save money in the way that you're not going to buy things you don't need. You're not going to waste water watering, grass that's like draining onto a pavement. And, there's just lots of ways that if you start with a good foundation, with all of these things, with a plan, with all these things, then you ultimately save money. And if you're doing it to like fix up a house to sell it again someday because it's not your permanent home, somebody's going to appreciate all of that, because then you can hand over these plans and go, this is what I did, rather than just coming in blind.
Yeah. So the beginning of the design process for yourself can be deciding what are my hours that I can dedicate to a section of your yard, or your whole yard, or your patio garden, whatever your scale may be. And so being realistic with that is awesome. In the beginning, in like the winter, you're going to spend most of your time planning maybe. And then, as spring hits and summer and fall, that's when you're doing the things and installing and whatever else. So we spend in our own gardens quite a few hours a week. Just because, keeping up on weeding, keeping up on all of our plants, and a lot of experimenting. But if you're more the low maintenance route, then you will want to ask, around or research online, what's some low maintenance plants that I can plant in my yard? What are low maintenance, maybe different materials like hardscapes and stuff, and techniques to have still a beautiful garden, or have flowers, or whatever your style may be, but for the minimal amount of time. And always getting water in will help you with that low maintenance kind of style. And if you're more of a more of a experimental gardener, and you know that you want to spend a little bit more time with vegetables and maybe cut flowers and a lot of different flowering perennials and a lot of variety, then you just kind of keep adding on season after season or month after month and go from there. What were you gonna?
Well, I think that too, like something to consider is there's different styles, right?
Yeah.
And so
Totally.
One of the most misunderstood styles is xeriscaping. And people, somehow it got the name, like a common name of xeriscaping. And I don't know if people just didn't understand how it was being pronounced, or they didn't ever look up the spelling of it. But xeric is probably that's the lowest maintenance technically. It's the lowest water, depending on, again, how tediously you want it to be manicured. And so if you start from, so you got this all the way at the bottom, so you have that kind of xeriscape, and then you have the next level, I would say, is like Northwest, and then kind of to Japanese, then traditional, and then
modern
like
and formal.
Yeah, modern and formal, and then you got all the way to cottage, Victorian kind of gardening. And so you have this scale of designs. And so if you get on a search engine or something like Pinterest and start going, what really like pops out to me when I look at a garden, what do I just love, and so then if when you get on and start, if you just type in gardening or gardens, and
Garden
the thing
inspiration.
the picture that you're drawn to is probably the style of garden that you would want to then spend some time in. But then you also have to be realistic. So you might love the cottage garden, or the Victorian garden, or the English cottage. That is the most amount of work.
And that might just be that as you find, your garden developing, that you might want to have help. And so you'll hire out help. Or, whether it's a teenager who needs a job, or some company. It's totally possible to have an elaborate garden, still be invested in it, excuse me, and not spend a ton of time maintaining it.
Right, you yourself, but it just in the grand scheme of it, it just takes the most time because you're deadheading, you're dividing, you're doing, making sure things are staked up and held up and all that kind of thing, all the way back to Zurich, which again kind of just the flowers fall off. It it kind of self compost.
Requires maintenance.
Some cleanup.
Still requires maintenance. Certain things.
But the number one thing is that, and my point was going to be, is that it requires water. Yeah. Is that people have this idea that this Zurich-scape is zero-scape, meaning zero water. And we literally just met with a couple, and they were like, we didn't know that we had to water these things. And it was just, they had moved from somewhere that was maybe, I don't know, but maybe they moved from somewhere like Seattle or Portland where you don't have to water things because it's just naturally more humid there. But, you have to research those kinds of things because you can have this really grand idea in your head, and if you don't do the research and then you don't do the planning, then you're going to defeat yourself, and then you won't feel as good about it as if you were prepared. So she was saying water, get your water and stuff
too.
Right. So
finding your style and finding the amount of time you think you might be able to invest in it, and going from there.
And so then the next step kind of is, do I want somebody else to design this with my input, or do I want to do DIY? Because I think both are very possible. If you are at all creative or handy with, some basic tools, there's no reason you can't design your own garden. There's no reason, and a design is an upfront cost. A design costs anywhere from $300 to thousands of dollars.
Yeah, and what you're paying for is those designers' expertise and knowing, ideally knowing, okay, they've assessed your space, your light, your soil, your desires and your goals, and they will apply all the right plants to that. They will apply all the right techniques to that and set you up for success.
Right, because they know the mature size of plants. They know what plants work together. They know how to put all the same water need type plants together, because that's the other thing, is that you can go, oh, I want a rose, but then I want a lavender, and then I want some succulents, and then I want this other thing, and all of those things require different water. And so you then have to water for the highest water thing, and then the succulents are rotting or the lavender is struggling. And so those are the things that a garden designer is always going to be able to help you through. And there's lots of garden designers that will do a plan for you that's DIY, where then they give it to you. They give you, a key with all of the plants and and some kind of a pictorial key, so that then you can look at the plan and you can plant it exactly where they said. And they just know how to use all of these tools, but there's no reason that you can't learn how to use these tools. And these are all like scaling tools, so that if you have 12 feet and this many things fit in 12 feet, you use these fancy tools to make sure that you buy and plant the proper amount of, say, lavenders that all get this big. If you only need 7, then you don't need to buy 12, right? And so that's that kind of thing. And so then, do you want to just tell them about the basic tools?
Sure, yeah. We definitely like to get everything out on maps, because then we can add up the quantities, like she was saying, for everything, including even mulch and soil, topsoil, anything like that that may be needed in the space. So, and then if we aren't able to, let's say, someone gave you a garden design, you could potentially give it to a contractor of some sort, landscape contractor or installation crew, and they would be able to fulfill this for you. So what we like to do is just illustrate whatever style, whatever plants onto maps, and then be able to translate that into like a bid. Even in our own yards, we're trying to inventory everything so that we know that we can buy these certain plants at a certain time and whatnot.
And then
so this one, the house is kind of in the center. It's
I'll hold it.
Thanks.
We're gonna play with it.
Yeah.
Here, actually.
This one's a recent one. We could talk about this one.
Yeah. That one might not be as curly, but
this one is more a watercolor kind of situation. And coloring it just gives it more life and more interesting information, I guess, on it, and giving you kind of a color palette.
Yep. Turn it around, turn it around.
Yeah.
See the detail. And then you can point to how the components of the plan.
So then these are just all different symbols, plant symbols and everything. We like to do this, and then we have a scale of, every half inch is 1 foot. And so it's got trees and shrubs and whatnot in front of a front landscape. So this is totally optional, but it definitely helps you define what works and what doesn't work as far as plants go. You can install these kinds of plants and then realize that they didn't do as well as you wanted them to, or you want to move them, or whatever, and it helps you note, okay, I won't put that same plant back in this area.
Exactly.
Or in our case, we also consult along with giving people designs. We consult and say, okay, let's do this section this year.
Right, exactly. And so then kind of a phase type of thing. But then the tools that you would need if you're going to do a DIY is you would need a straight edge, just a basic straight edge, or a T-square. And this is just good to be able to, make straight lines, be able to measure things. Yeah, this is just straight up. So if you knew I'm doing a bed that's 6 by 8, you could do it really simple. And it would be 6 inches by 8 inches. And then you know that 1 foot equals 1 inch. And that's the easiest scale in the world. And you can see the plants really easily. And, and so basically whatever size piece of paper you have is how you can go up in that scale. So now when you have to start cutting things into increments, because maybe you don't want to have a piece of paper the size of your dining table, you want to be able to get down to this, like this scale on this one is 1/2 inch, or 1/2 inch is a foot. And so then that's what this fancy ruler is for, is that then you find the 1/2 inch scale and you draw everything.
Not get lost in your numbers.
And then you draw everything to that 1/2 inch scale. It's good to have some kind of a triangle so that you can do angles. Some kind of an artist tape. This doesn't stick. It has a low tack, so it won't tear your paper when you move it around, if you do have to do it as something like a dining table and you have to keep lifting it. This is another little fun tool for making lines. And again, it would lay on a T-square and you'd slide it back and forth to make lines.
I can't remember what this is called.
I can't remember what it's
I'm trying
called.
to remember.
And then this is obviously to make circles. And
Just
again,
a lettering guide.
Yeah, it's same thing. This is, again, by scale. So say I was doing a 1/2 inch scale, I would hold this up and say, okay, which plant, if I know that it's 24 inches, the mature size of this, I'd hold which circle up and go, oh, okay, this, if it's 24 inches, then it's 2 inches, a 2-inch circle. And so then that's how you start planning on this piece of paper. And, I suggest getting some kind of good graph paper. And this is just, design graph paper. And then you can keep that scale, because the key is that you don't want to buy too many plants, or you don't want to buy too few plants, because a lot of times nurseries will have exactly what you want for a limited amount of time. You go back and you're like, oh no, I'm 4 short, and they don't have them again until the next year. And so then you would have to wait. And then this is good too. If you don't have something like this, then you can use that, and then a good eraser and a really good sharp mechanical pencils are best, just because they stay the same size. And so then you just draw this out based on your drawing, based on what you want, doing research on the size of plants, color it or don't color it.
And you made a good point that I want to come back to, is we always plan for the mature size of the plants. So we look up, maybe you buy a 4-inch pot of a plant at a nursery, but where you're planning for is that it will eventually, if it's perennial, it will eventually get to 2 feet or something.
Or
like
6 feet.
Or bigger,
Yeah.
yes, totally. That's important for trees and shrubs, which are really hard to move typically.
Right.
And so, you want to avoid them getting crammed out and actually need to be removed at some point. So you want your landscape to be to live as long as possible and stay as healthy as possible.
And so
that's what we want for each landscape.
So what's the website that you use?
I also like Gardenia.
Oh, yeah.
Gardenia? I can never remember. .net. And that one is good for information on just all plants, plant styles, landscape styles. There's also the Missouri Botanical Gardens. They have a website that they give information on every plant if you just use their little search bar.
Right.
And they also give information that's really important, like does it tolerate clay soil? Does it tolerate sandy soil? Does it need a lot of fertilizer? Things like that. And that all, there's so many moving parts to designs. You know, whether you outsource that and have a garden designer do that for you or you do it yourself, it's cool to get to know your own landscape and basically set yourself up for success later.
Right. So that brings us all the way back to the beginning when we were saying make sure that your water is in really good, your watering system is in good condition. Next step is your soil. So most states, most cities that I know have an extension service or an extension office from a university.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them offer soil testing. And so you can totally get online, see how to take core samples to be able to do a soil test. So usually it's taking anywhere from like 12 to 20 samples of
around your
whole property. And so you're literally
mixing it up really well.
And then you mix it up in a bucket, and then you either
I
drop
think you want
off.
to go down like what, 12
it's
inches?
Like 12 inches
or more.
Right, because you're going to dig that deep when you plant something.
Yeah, like a shrub.
And so you could have this much of, look how amazing my loamy soil is, and then below that is just solid clay. And that would affect certain shrubs or certain plants that are like, I hate clay. I never want to, they don't want to grow in certain types of soil. And so then, especially when you have a plant that's just struggling, more than likely there's something deep in the soil that those roots are finally touching that it doesn't like, whether that's clay or caliche or, lots of different things.
Yeah, and that soil sample you can ask just to get a really basic like pH. pH measurement, and you can also ask for like how much organic matter and what the composition of the soil is, how much clay and sand and things like that. You don't necessarily need the information of, for like home gardens, the information of all the little micro and macronutrients. I don't find that super helpful when I'm planting plants that typically just take up whatever they take up. And also, it seems like in certain regions, for sure, if you think about how riverbeds work and how geology, all that stuff working together, there's certain areas that are going to be just sandier, and there's certain areas that are just going to be more clay and really hard to. And
certain areas that are loam because they've had tree cover for so long
that
the leaf litter is just
making. You'll probably get to know your area. Like the Boise Bench is definitely a lot of clay, and then more the River Valley area is a lot more sand. Like if you live by the Snake River or whatever.
Right, exactly. And the reason that that's really important in your plan is because that kind of dictates the plants that you're going to be able to grow.
Yeah.
Because if there's a plant that absolutely does not tolerate a type of soil, but you're really committed to owning that plant, then you're going to have to amend the soil quite a bit. And it can be done. Like it really can. But it would require you digging down, whenever you're planting a tree or a shrub, they always say, dig the hole, triple the width, and put in compost and do all of this stuff anyway. Very, very seldom do gardeners do that. Usually they dig exactly the size of the pot and they cram it in there and they think, it'll be fine, which usually that works out. But if you do want something and you're spending money on something that absolutely, like certain things, like roses, they want a certain kind of soil. Hydrangeas want a different kind of soil. Pine trees want a different kind of soil. Grasses are kind of more tolerant of everything. And so you really want to know that before you start spending money. Totally. And so starting with those foundational things are always going to be really important. And then your plan can come from there. And there's, books, there's publications, there's websites.
This is residential landscape architecture for private residences. It's funny. But this is actually a helpful tool because it can calculate out many different things for you. So you don't, and then you also get a lot of information on how to install things correctly if you're more the DIY person, how to note other things correctly, everything from illustrating designs and being creative that way to different slopes and whatnot. Just absolutely every little piece of information.
I just hold it up more for the camera.
Sorry.
So definitely look for some, and there's lots of things on online book searches with used books where you can get this kind of thing with a used book or used. I just ordered a used landscaping design book that somebody else recommended that they supposedly use constantly, and I was like, oh, I can look for that, and I found it on a used bookstore website for like $9. And so even if you just learn one or two things from one of these books, it's really worthwhile.
Yeah.
Because you're always growing, you're always learning, because that's the thing about gardening is gardens are never finished.
Yeah.
And so that also means that your education is never finished.
Totally.
And so you want to just keep building your information, building your tools, and then you also might get to the point in your research where you just think, you know what, I'd just rather hire someone. So is there a way to like really vet somebody that you would work with, like as far as a garden designer?
I mean, looking at their online portfolios is awesome. Seeing what they've got from, from projects, past projects. Obviously talking to the person, seeing what they ask you, and then asking them questions. What their availability is like. If you want to be more involved in the whole process, ask them if you can be, if they'll teach you things versus just installing and leaving. What else is, whatever's important to you, bring it up and ask.
But have a, I think you really should meet the person or have like online conversations with them, because they are bringing something to your home, and they're bringing information and like a plan to your home. And so you want to make sure you have like that you connect at some level, so that what you get, because that's a lot of times you'll fill out a questionnaire and you'll think that you're on the same page, and you're not really on the same page. And then you're like, oh no, I just paid for this and this isn't what I wanted at all. And so really, like, it's a relationship. So build that relationship. Make sure that you ask a ton of questions. Make sure that you, like she said, look at their past work, or even ask, hey, can I ask one of your other clients what it was like to work with you? Especially because some designers will just design it. They'll even just place the plants for you, and you can bury them. Yeah. And they, and there's a charge for that, and they'll just come to your house and they'll go, put these all here. Have a great day. And then that's another step where you're excited about, okay, I still feel like I'm part of this process. You save the money on labor. But then this expert put them in exactly the right place, especially if you're not somebody that's super visual or like spatially aware, then because you look at this aerial photo and you're just like, great, I have this. Now what do I do? Okay, so Isabel, so if somebody called you and said, hey, I have these awesome plants, but a tree has grown too much, and I know that they're like too shaded, they're not getting really what they're required, can I move them? I mean, what would you tell them? Or
specifically a Japanese maple.
Or something, or a hydrangea or anything. Can you move these bigger?
Yeah.
Can you move these bigger things safely?
Yeah, to just prolong its life and give it.
Yeah, exactly.
Better environment to grow in.
Right.
Yeah, so there's anything from being able to hire someone who comes in with a tree spade and takes out as much root ball as possible.
Right.
Which is for the really big trees. Which would be awesome. So then they can, take out a large soil core.
Because I think your
whatever.
root ball needs to be as wide.
Ideally, it's as
your
wide
crown
as your
height.
canopy.
Right, exactly. And so it's like, it's a big ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you cut something off, it'll struggle.
Yeah, if you can't do that, with Japanese maples, like, is it a small one or a big one?
Oh.
Well, it was a big one, and that's the thing is, I knew it was put in direct sunlight, so it was changing the colors.
Yeah.
So my husband and I tried to do it ourselves and keep it all up.
Yeah.
It had about a month, and then it was no longer
Yeah.
a beautiful Japanese maple.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was a big cost to us.
Yeah.
Right. So
Totally.
did it die completely? It did. Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing with Japanese maples is some have seems like unlimited lives. Others have 25 years or 15 years. Like there are some that really do, like there's lots of trees that really have reached their maximum beauty, their maximum lifespan in a certain amount of time. And you don't know that unless you know the exact variety and you can look it up.
Also when it was planted.
If you don't know a lot of the details on it, then it is harder because you're just hoping then. You're just hoping that you can move this thing, because sometimes it does work, because that particular variety is going to live for 50 years, whereas another variety isn't.
Totally, yeah. And there's so many different aspects too, like the light, the full sunlight may not have been helpful and may not have been, it stressed out the plant, as well as maybe something in the soil that was attacking it as well. So there could have been several different things that were stressing it out to create just a combination of
Right.
killing it off
Right.
eventually. But if you do find that a plant is struggling, you can check to see, or you can have someone come in to see if it has diseases or issues. And if it doesn't, then you can move it, and you can either do it by hand, by shoveling it out and, hoisting it out with maybe a truck and all sorts of whatever you can if it's big, and then transplanting it, and you can do that in the fall. The fall is always the best time to transplant big, mature plants.
And then again, so say you've transplanted, say you dug it out, you've done everything according to what's right, then the hole you're planting it in needs to be dug out twice as big. It needs to have all sorts of like really loamy, like compost kind of things in there so that the roots can get going. And then it needs to be watered like twice a day. I mean, it's like...
And now they're actually even selling, I'm going to have to get it right, mycelium, which is like a fungal, basically extension of the root system.
Yeah, it's Mike's. The brand
And
is
so you
Mike's,
can put that in with transplants. And
it
that
helps grow the roots faster. And you can actually do it with any plants. Like
Definitely.
you can put it with any plants. And so transplanting is always just, it's kind of, you can do everything right and something can still just be like, I hate you, thank you, I'm dying, and you're just like, no.
It's true.
And again, if it was at all struggling, it was already weakened. And so then, in its weakened state, you cut all of its roots, and then it's just like, yep, thanks, I'm dead, I'm gone. And those are hard. That's a really hard thing, losing trees. But some Japanese lapels actually are fine in full sun. So it's just a matter of, again, a variety and a type, that is really good, for that.
For sure.
So, keep talking.
2 minutes.
So what else? So then maybe explain this. Like,
one of my favorite things, okay, before I forget, one of my favorite things about designs is being able to completely calculate all of the, this is the very last page, all of the mulch and topsoil and stuff so that I cannot make a million trips to Home Depot with bagged,
which again,
bagged
money.
bark or something like that. Usually we get mulch delivered, even if it's like 2 yards.
By the yard, yeah.
It's super helpful. If you've got a much smaller project than that, then
and there's
of course
there's
bagged
companies,
stuff is
and
good.
there's companies, at least in our area, that will deliver smaller batches, because a lot of the big, huge delivery systems are like minimum 7 yards, and you're like,
True.
I don't need that. I need 1 yard. And so there are like, small time operators that have trucks that just hold a few yards, and they'll charge you to have it delivered. And it's a lot less money than buying by the bag, but again, you have to then want this big pile of soil,
Totally.
at your property or whatever for however long. And with the plant key, what I love about it is that over time you can alter this. And so it's part of your plan, and you've now changed, you've added another plant, and you can put how many you've done, and you can add to this.
Yeah,
And
in Excel or whatever
exactly.
you use.
So
Numbers.
that's our...
Contact us with your design questions.
Yes. And we thank you so much for watching, and we thank you, Argos, for doing this, and it's so much fun.
Awkward silence. Sorry.
I see green. I mean, that's okay, right? It's all around me. I'm just observing the world that's around me. It's okay. Don't judge it. Don't judge. Don't judge.
This one's pretty easy because it's just grays and then some of these brown tones. I'm like notorious for bringing way more than I need. I started painting just from like riding on skate spots and stuff. I was gonna roll out just the background, kind of cleaned up a little bit. It's like an old box truck that this guy John owns. I used to go to Boise High and walk past this garage all the time. And he's been letting us paint on it for like 10 years. Like,
can you paint that hole in the tire for me?
Yeah, I got you. I'll just fix it up real quick. Yeah, it's gonna be tight. So I like adding a couple of little elements in there that are like really subtle. Finding imagery that I like and putting it together in a meaningful way and just painting for myself. It's nice to just be able to get out and do something solely of your own volition.
I like that. That was damn good.
Thank you.
You're 21, right?
What? Oh, yeah. Just graduated.
Wait, what? Just graduated?
What?
You just said you just graduated.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, I'm getting a call. Yeah, hey, I'm just at JD's getting beer. I know, I can't believe I'm finally 21. I'll call you back.
Let me see your ID. You're 32. Chip. Receipt?
Nah. The beard's fake.
Just go.
Hi everyone. I hope you're enjoying this rendition of Argos TV. Thank you so much for joining us, those of you that are watching. On Facebook, sorry about the hiccup. Some weird stuff happened. We just wanted to make sure everybody could watch. I'm just going to play a couple songs here that I've been working on slowly over the last couple of years. When I mean slowly, I do mean slowly. These are in a pretty rough state, both in performance and in draft, so we'll see how it goes, and I hope you enjoy these songs that I've created. Warm skies at the start of the day, slow minds just beginning to wake, strong arms won't let go their embrace. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Smooth sheets keep us safe from the world. Our eyes connect us from being to being. Look deep, feel the love that we share. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Small kiss just before I depart. Don't move, just keep the bed warm. Hold tight, I won't be gone for long. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Okay.
I see green. I mean, that's okay, right? It's all around me. I'm just observing the world that's around me. It's okay. Don't judge it. Don't judge. Don't judge.
This one's pretty easy because it's just grays and then some of these brown tones. I'm like notorious for bringing way more than I need. I started painting just from like riding on skate spots and stuff. I was gonna roll out just the background, kind of cleaned up a little bit. It's like an old box truck that this guy John owns. I used to go to Boise High and walk past this garage all the time, and he's been letting us paint on it for like 10 years. Like,
Can you paint that hole in the tire for me?
Yeah, I got you. I'll just fix it up real quick. Yeah, it's gonna be tight. I like adding a couple of little elements in there that are like really subtle. Finding imagery that I like and putting it together in a meaningful way, and just painting for myself. It's nice to just be able to get out and do something solely of your own volition.
I like that. That was damn good.
Thank you.
Hi there. Welcome back. We just had a quick snafu that we needed to figure out. Everything's back to normal. Thank you for joining us. That first song was called Early Start. And the end of it ended up being kind of an improvisation that I like. So I'm looking forward to cutting this out and taking it back to the studio and kind of doing a little bit of wood shedding, as it's called, in terms of getting some. That's not really what it's called. Anyways, moving on. Just working on that a little bit and getting it to a better place, because I really like that ending. The bridge that I've written needs a little bit of work in terms of how it flows from the rest of the song. I didn't play the bridge during this, but yeah. So that was called Early Start. I ended up beginning to write that probably 7 years ago now. It was just kind of a sketch in one of my notebooks, and a couple of years ago I turned it into a full-fledged song. So that was Early Start, just kind of about waking up, it being nice and warm in bed and not wanting to leave. Next up we have a song called Dreamland, about going to sleep. So I guess the beginning of where Early Start would end. This one has a chorus that I don't have the chords written down for, so I'm just going to play some of the verses here, and I hope you enjoy. Falling weightless, drifting in and out of worlds, dreamland calls me on a journey, relaxing of the day. Visions coming into focus, stories living out their lives. I am holding to this notion. What is real is strictly defined. Dreamland, take me away. Show me how to open doors that none can see. Paintings are running down the hallways. There are sculptures walking to the streets. Museums empty their exhibits. dreamland, take me away. Show me how to open doors and none can see. Morning wipes away our visions. Stories reach their final page. The waking world slowly sets around us, giving us the dawning of a day. Giving us the dawning of a day. Giving us the dawning of a day. So that's a little teaser of Dreamland. I have that one in a bit more of kind of a sculpted audio form with some guitar and some virtual drums and stuff like that I'm working on. But that's just kind of a stripped down version of just me and the piano. And yeah, I definitely took some inspiration from that after coming back from Paris and visiting the museums there, and kind of playing with the idea of what happens in our dreams and kind of how also kind of influenced from Harry Potter in terms of the movement of the movement of the paintings and kind of the aliveness of art in general and how that can play into different dream states. So yeah, that's Dreamland. This next one is called Little Changes, and I essentially wrote it about meeting my wife and how serendipity in the world kind of brings unexpected things to your doorstep because of just how the little changes happen. So here's Little Changes. Little changes make the world go round and round and round and round. It's subtle, but I know it's true. That little changes led to you. Little changes happen all the time. They're often silent, but they're there. The fall of leaves in autumn's chill. The clouds that dance streak over the hill. Little changes brought me to you. Somehow we both wound up in France. Despite the different lives, we found ourselves in a trance. Little changes are wonderful. They let us see through different eyes. The world around us somewhere there's a chorus for that song. I'm not sure where it is. It's obviously in the second draft. The book that I'm reading out of right here is a lot of my first drafts, and then what I printed up here is a lot of my second and sometimes third drafts. So the next one of these will have a bit more structure and maybe some fourth and fifth and eighth drafts. Let's see. And kind of go out of order here. Well, you know, I think 2 more songs for you, maybe 3. No. I had this a little bit more planned out, and then some things got pushed out of the way. Okay. So this is kind of in a similar vein, just sad. I'm sure all of you know the feeling of missing a loved one, and this one started out as kind of like, as those of you that have been watching for a long time, I enjoy writing lullabies, and kind of the idea was a little bit lullaby-ish when it came to the idea of sleep, but when I went to look back at it, I don't think I would ever want to sing this to somebody as a lullaby, and you'll see why in a minute. So this one's called I Just Want to Lie Down. Hold me close and tell me I'm alright. Today's been hard and I don't want to fight. I've been wandering down this long and dusty road, and going places and no one else would go. And I just want to lie down next to you somehow. Can we go to sleep and dream of places to be? It had been so long since I saw your face that I'd forgotten the color of your eyes. I missed your touch, the way that your hair falls, your lips so sweet, the softness of your call. And I just want to lie down and next to you somehow. And can we go to sleep and dream of places to be? Please hold me tight, please hold me close, and maybe I won't have to go no more. So come on, babe, let's settle down to bed and kiss the day goodbye. 'Cause I just want to lie down next to you somehow. Can we go to sleep
I just wanna lie down next to you somehow. And can we go to sleep and dream of places to be? And dream of places to be. So I got one more for you. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to all of you that have joined us throughout this adventure of Argos TV. We have one more show this year on December 15th. We're going to sing some carols. We're going to have a good time. So join us at home. Some of you will be joining us virtually, I hope, or in person, and singing some carols with us and having a good time. And that'll be our last show on December 15th. We'll make sure to send out some notifications and invites and whatnot. So this last one's kind of an a cappella tune called Untied Faith. Inside me lives the greatest love, love beyond my time. I use it as my guiding light to teach me how to live my life. This love is there in all of me. It's different there in all of you. This love exists in everything. This love exists in everything. My love's not bound to constructs formed by man. My faith's untied and just for me. I don't subscribe to books or laid out plans. My love consists of you and me. The greatest gift that's received in life is sharing someone's love. The selfless act of giving, the strength of lifting up, the joining for a common good, the building something grand. Our love is how we float above. Our love is how we grow. My love's not bound to constructs formed by man. My faith's untied and just for me. I don't subscribe to books or laid out plans. My love consists of you and me. My love consists of you and me. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy this new episode of My Idaho Friends with Jaime Lima as he talks with Rebecca De Leon from Lionheart Consulting.
And welcome to another episode of My Idaho Friends. I am your host, Jaime Lima. And as always, we have a good one for you, because they're never bad. We only bring you the good stuff. Super excited, but before we introduce our guest, as always, shout out to the ones and onlys, Erica, Jeston, and Emma, over here at Argos Productions.
Ellen.
Argos Productions.
It's Ellen.
Is Ellen? FML. Anyways, Argos Productions for all your production needs and things, okay? You want to start a podcast? Hit them up. You want to start a web series? Hit them up. Documentary, film, take naughty pictures of somebody special in your life? Argos Productions. Link at the bottom, website and things. Follow them on social media too. For crying out loud.
I'm going to get
balls tomorrow.
I am so sorry, Ellen.
I really think nothing of it.
Anywho, as I said, Idaho, we have a good one today. Tonight, we have our good buddy, Rebecca De Leon. Rebecca, you wear so many hats. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself because there's Planned Parenthood, there's your consulting firm, you're a fellow board member of the Alliance, which I cannot wait to speak more about. And then you're also a full-time mother because apparently there's no part-time parenting. And if there is, let me know where I get that gig. I'm kidding. I don't want that. I love the full-time stuff. So please, Rebecca, tell us about yourself. Who are you? Rebecca De Leon.
I mean, I'm obviously very mysterious.
Yes.
But my name is Rebecca De Leon, and I have multiple hats. I'm not sure which all. Am I just supposed to be wearing all the hats today?
Well, which ones do you want us to know about? Because if you don't bring it up, I'm going to bring it up. So you do it. Take control.
Right.
Take control.
Sounds good. Okay, so I would say that my primary jobs are I am a communications manager with Planned Parenthood. It's the largest Planned Parenthood affiliate in the country. That's like, there's all the little small like affiliates, and then there's like the general large Planned Parenthood that's like located in DC. Our affiliate covers 6 states, and it's a lot to go over, and it's just a lot. I also run a PR firm on the side for funsies, and it's called Lionheart Consulting, and I provide PR, marketing, crisis management for people who are interested specifically in like dual language, English, Spanish, and for reaching out to the Latino community. And so that's my kind of specialty. And then I also have a radio show on Radio Boise called The Latino Card, which we have run for a couple of years. And it's pretty dope if y'all want to check it out. It's every other Tuesday at 3 p.m. And we're supposed to be also existing online. There's a long story behind that. It'll get caught up, maybe, probably not. But we have won several Idaho Press Club Awards for journalism for that show. And it's something I'm very proud of.
Yes,
and
you should be.
I am a mostly full-time mom.
Mostly full-time mom?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I hit at least the 40-hour-a-week mark.
That's pretty solid.
Motherhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I stopped keeping track of time. Can't. Well, cool. Rebecca, so over here at My Idaho Friends, in order to avoid any uncertainty, what we do is we start talking a little bit about you and all about you, but we want to know, Idaho wants to know, what was Rebecca De Leon up to 10 years ago? And then I'm going to throw a few questions at you, then it's like, where are you right now? And then throw some questions at you, and this is where we got to look forward to in the future. So what was Rebecca up to a decade ago?
So a decade ago, I was 25, and I was a loser. I really
highly doubt that.
No, it's true.
By all means, give it a shot.
It's true. I was, I was in and out of homelessness. I was a college dropout. I had no prospects. I had no future. I had a lot of problems. I had a lot of issues. And, there was no, if you would have told Rebecca 10 years ago that Rebecca today would be on Jaime Lima's show, she would say, no freaking way.
Oh, nice try. I love that you're giving us some credibility by saying that. And then if you should,
she wouldn't believe me.
We're going to have to write her a check. Little as she knows, it's going to be on Dogecoin.
We planned this ahead of time, of course.
Well, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's true. I was supposed to be a statistic. I mean, a lot of people who kind of come from backgrounds where, where things are kind of broken, you don't have a lot of money, there's a cycle of poverty that's very difficult to break. Yeah. And, especially if you're somebody who has experienced a lot of violence, that also is a cycle that you have to break. And so I have a bachelor's degree. It's a 4-year degree that took me 10 years to get,
nice.
If you count all the time I didn't do anything. But I finally have a bachelor's degree. I have a job that pays bills, and I have a house. And so 10 years ago, I had no future. So that's where I was.
I like how you say that because a lot of people, and you're a product of your environment, and like you just a lot of times don't understand, or whether it's because of lack of awareness, or sometimes you just don't leave like the immediate area where you live at. Mm-hmm. Such things as like completing school, owning a home, having the ability to like pay the bills and not, and it seems like such a like, oh, that's like status quo. It's like, I mean, that was not the case for me growing up, and for a lot of like my peer group in the in the area that I was born and raised in Panama. So the idea of like being a homeowner, especially nowadays, especially if you're doing it in Idaho.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
Oh,
it's rough out there.
And, the closer you're to Boise, it's just like,
For sure.
What is this, like second highest spike in real estate throughout all the country, like ranked second highest?
Yeah, we're always like number one in all the shitty lists, and
all
then we're like at the bottom of all the good lists.
I know. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, people keep moving over here, so there's something good about us. And yes, there is Idaho. I'm just being facetious, but I think it's cool, and I want to celebrate that. So congratulations, and that's really, really awesome. And without going into too many like personal details and stuff like that, that's quite the steep hill to climb.
It's very much, you got to claw your way out, and that's something that I definitely, when I do like the Latino card, because the Latino card is something that, I mean, I get to kind of talk about whatever I want to. I get to have on whatever guests I want to. And we get to talk about, the things that matter to me. And the things that matter to me are for people to recognize that, some people have head starts that they fail to recognize. Right. And some people really have to claw their way to where they get. And, it is meritorious. Like, that is the American dream. People come to this country because they want that American dream. They want the ability to have doors open purely based on how hard they work and like how much balls they put into something, or whatever the scenario is. That's the dream, and it's possible, but it's not easy, and it's worth our time to reflect on why it's so unequal.
Yeah. It's fucked up. That's what it is.
There we go. You just got our tagline for our show. It's fucked up.
Well, it's, as time continues to go by, the number of opportunities available for those of us who have had a less fortunate upbringing and less access to opportunities, they just become less and less and less.
Yeah.
And then any time that voices and concerns are being raised about it, it's just then projected and gaslighted in a way, as you said. You are just being not only condescending, you're also being a victim, and you are just entitled.
Yeah.
And I mean, you just look just a few years back, not that long ago. It was the millennials, and like who's running shit? Millennials, like, and you can cut those up in between whatever little micro generations, but it's just like, as you get older, you're like, oh snap, son. Like, yeah, it's and people who just for some reason think that having like immediate access to like housing, and then if you have housing, like how easy it will be just to like keep the lights on and keep the heat on, or like the AC on during the summer because it gets a little hot over here, and then just I can talk on and on and on about that, but I think it's cool to hear your story and just to reflect a little bit into like celebrating those victories, because they're by no means small and they're incredibly significant. So I want to celebrate that. So yay! Well, thank you.
But I would say that anybody, honestly, everybody that I have ever met who has kind of had to fight that kind of fight in order to, like, I mean, for a lot of people, living middle class is like a dream that was unattainable for them. And it doesn't just have to do with money. Like, everything is connected. It's, some people don't have parents who value education, and they don't realize that those of us, I am grateful that my parents did value education. Those of us who had that don't realize what a privilege that we've had to see the value in education and see how it is so closely connected to a good future. And it's just, it's all connected because people who don't know the value of an education aren't going to pass that knowledge on to their kids. And, the cycles continue. So I wouldn't say that, there's anything special about me because I did have a lot of privileges that a lot of people don't have. But it is worth saying that anybody who has kind of had a little bit of a rags to riches story brings so much perspective and there's so much value into whatever they're doing in their work. And I've never seen it not be insanely valuable. And I think that we really need to treat people better. People who have had that kind of journey, they deserve so much respect. And there's so many people who have overcome so many more obstacles than I have. And it's incredible.
Well, we're going to tie that with a bow because that could be just like the whole thing. But yeah, I think, people with your background, people with my background, from different cultures and communities, what I would like to see, because it happens, but sometimes it's the opposite, right? But what I would like to see more often is like, okay, so things were very, very difficult for us, and very great way to describe it. We would claw ourselves out of those situations. Well, how do I make it better for like everybody else that comes after me? And sometimes I just get like that tick because they'll be saying, well, I had to do it this way so you can do it too. And it's just like,
yes.
Oh, slow down, dinosaur. Slow down. Slow down.
Not only that, but it's, just saying the fact that I had to claw my way to get to somebody else's baseline, and just pointing out that is just like an unequal amount does not make me a victim. It doesn't make me the racist, especially if I'm trying to like explain the reasons for why there's that deficit.
Right.
And it's just such a disgusting conversation that we're having right now.
Yeah.
Not me and you.
No,
like,
I get
as a
it.
country.
No, but and it's been had, for several years. It's just
it's so tiring.
Continue to go on. It is exhausting.
So exhausting.
The labor. So.
You gotta take your Marco Rubio sip first.
Absolutely. So that brings us to now.
Yeah.
And there's a number of several things that you're doing that you already touched on, and I wanna circle, over to your for funsies job, which has to do, with your PR firm. But before that, there's one thing that you and I have in common, other than being dark and beautiful.
Some darker and some more beautiful than others, but all right.
You know what? Thank you. But flattery will get you everywhere with me.
Yes.
But
same.
But so we're both board members. The both of us are board members with the Alliance of Idaho. So last season we had Sarah Santias on the show, and it was great. It would have been awesome to have her in person, but we did the whole screen thing because she's up at the Wood River Valley.
Right.
But I have you here now.
That's right.
And I think it will just be more better rather than you do it rather than I do it. So tell us a little bit about the Alliance.
Sure.
Who the Alliance is, what the mission is, and some stuff that is coming up with the Alliance.
Yeah. So I've been a board member, I think, since kind of the Alliance developed a board. And in that respect, I'm very grateful to have been able to watch it grow from nothing to what it is today, which is something that is just so incredibly impactful, especially in the Wood River Valley. So the Alliance, and I'm just going to call it the Alliance because, who's got time for an entire name? So the Alliance, it specializes, I guess, in immigration and they're specializing in helping refugees, especially in the Wood River Valley, start their immigration journey. They also advocate for immigrant rights. They have just done so much, and I unfortunately have had to miss a couple board meetings because I had a death in the family and I was sick, and so I'm a little bit less caught up on the happenings now, except to say that they do have an immigration attorney that they're working with in the Wood River Valley, and that person, much like what happens, I think, with every community, I'm gonna back up a little bit, especially Latino community in every, area in Idaho, they have their trusted people. Like, they have the people that they know that they can trust, and it's kind of word of mouth. The community is very tight knit, and I think the Alliance is one of those trusted people for that community in the Wood River Valley, and that is so huge. That is so huge because it's hard to get trusted because they have, there are immigration attorneys. There are people who pretend to be immigration attorneys, and they take advantage of a lot of confusion in the translation of an immigration attorney, because I know that specifically in Mexico, an attorney can be what we would call what do you call that? A thing. I forget.
Okay.
I can't think of the name right now, but they take advantage of that error in translation to tell people sure, I'm an attorney, but they're not actually an attorney. And the word will probably come to me when I'm showering 3 days from now. So there is just a lot of harm, and there's people who take advantage, because these people are in a vulnerable situation. There are people who take advantage, and of course the Alliance is well established. The Alliance is something, an organization. It's a nonprofit organization, and we're both board members, so it engages with the community because we are members of the community that they serve. It engages with the community. It's making sure that it really puts the people who need these services at the center of what they do. So their cause is noble, but also their approach is noble, and that is important. And so there was, as we probably are all aware, even though it feels like it happened 72 years ago, the Taliban kind of took over Afghanistan, and shit hit the fan. And a lot of Afghani people needed to leave Afghanistan immediately. And when that happens, you don't have the time to sit in your country, and start the legal process and wait years and do all these kinds of things. So you apply for refugee status because you need to get out immediately. And the Alliance has helped place Afghani refugees in housing, and has helped, kickstart their immigration process for refugee status.
One of the coolest things about the Alliance is, part of the mission is just looking out after the human rights of the most marginalized communities, right? So, and I like saying human rights because immigrant rights are human rights.
Yes, that's what's up.
And for some reason, sometimes people want to split hairs, and I just gotta remind them to no, go F yourself, in a far more polite way, But
I don't think you need to be polite all the time.
Yeah, but I bring that up because it's not just the Latinx community. It's also not just it's not only for the Wood River Valley as well, because there are people who are coming from farther out just to take advantage of the services that the Alliance can facilitate. For just $25, you can have an hour consultation with an attorney who is tried and true and 25 years of experience and has the ability to go over your case. So it's not necessarily that he's taking over cases, but sometimes you just need a little bit of a second opinion or a sanity check, because at times you can tell when you're dealing with anybody in legal services that is supposed to be helping you, whether they care or not.
That's right.
And and I have gone through that experience, back in several years ago when I was an undocumented immigrant. and having conversation with somebody that doesn't give a shit, with somebody that's like, I got your back.
That's right.
It's just wild.
It is.
So I think it's not the only, but it's by far one of the most valuable services that we facilitate, that we provide. And they are not for the Latinx community alone. And so it's just really for anybody that is in need of those services. Now, here in Idaho and, and in the Wood River Valley, like those who are most exposed, if you may, and are in need of those services tend to be, people with our background, whether it's from Mexico, whether it's from Panama, like anything in between or farther down south. So just wanted to clarify that with you guys. So it's like, it's for everyone. I can believe I can speak for the both of us, that we're very proud of that.
Yes.
I thought it was pretty cool that when the opportunity presented itself to help this Afghani family, that we were able to have that rubber meet the road. I hate saying us a previous Marine or like us a previous service member. I do my best not to do that.
Hate that.
It's not that I hate it because of my service, but it's just like, trying to like bring up some sort of like expertise, that's not the case. But the reason why I do say it this time is because it's no longer in the news. And there's still a number of, and thousands of Afghani families, allies, who a lot of them are U.S. residents and citizens, and they have not been able to leave the country. So, what happened to the outrage? What happened to the way in which was incredibly politicized on both sides of that coin? So, it's always those who are marginalized who pay the steepest of prices. So I am super stoked, super proud of being a part of the Alliance and that we were able to take action immediately. Yeah. And then when it was brought up to the board, that it was something that we were all able to make a decision and take action right away. Because we can talk about it, but we'd rather be about it. Boom.
Oh, damn. Look at you.
Right?
Look at us.
I know. I should just do this more often, not drink while doing the interviews. I'm kidding, Idaho.
As he drinks.
It's a La Croix, right?
It's a Croix.
It's a sparkling water.
It's a sparkling water.
I mean, it's true. We both have a passion for it, and I would say that all of the board members have a passion. We have different perspectives, but we all have the same passion. And so we were all very much in line with, taking on what the Alliance could take on, as Afghani refugees came in. And so I am extremely, again, privileged to have been born in the United States, but I also went through the process because I married somebody who was undocumented. And we went through that process together recently. And it was, actually, we started the process right before Trump took office. And so when we started the process, we were like, this is going to be great. And then by the time we were near the end, we were like, this is awful and this is not going to succeed. And so I think that people may not fully understand how scary that is. I mean, we have a child together, and, every single day it's just, I didn't know if my child's dad was going to come home from work. And, they don't really give you a chance to say goodbye.
Right.
People don't fully understand, unless you've lived it, how scary that is. And, I mean, if we were driving in separate cars and we were both going in the same direction, I was like white knuckling it, like so scared. And I was like, pumping myself up. So, okay, like if he gets pulled over by a police officer, because all you need to do is go 1 mile per hour to speed limit, get pulled over by the wrong police officer, and it's over.
Yeah.
Like that's it. And, especially in Idaho, especially in this area, you're probably going to get pulled over by the wrong police officer. There's a lot of them. And so, I would be white knuckling it and just being like, okay, here's the thing. Like, I'm a U.S. citizen. If he gets pulled over, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sideswipe the cop car so that he tries to chase me instead, because that's a felony for me. I would probably lose my job. I'd have a hard time getting another job, but I would still stand to lose less than if he got a speeding ticket for going 5 over from the wrong guy. And so
I
The word. And I'm gonna butcher it in Spanish, and I apologize.
What just happened?
Notorios.
Notarios.
Thank you.
Notarios públicos. That's what's up. Okay, so a notario,
Notary
thank
public.
you.
Yeah.
Yes, a notario público is a public notary. They're just the people who stamp stuff. But in Mexico, that is an attorney. And so, they take advantage of the fact that there's that weird.
If for some reason you just jumped up on the YouTube and that's the first thing you heard, you gotta go back like 15 minutes and then that will all make sense.
It was hard to find.
But
sorry.
no
I'm glad you
worries.
found it though.
No, yeah, there's a different price that gets paid. We have had that conversation over here. I had that conversation with Victor, last season when we were talking with him, sharing with him. Had that conversation with, oh my goodness gracious, why am I drawing a blank?
There's something in this LaCroix.
Yeah, there must be really, it's really rough. So, but anywho, it's been had before, and like, I always thought it was like not a big deal, but everybody processes, trauma, and then if you call it trauma, then you're being a pansy and all these other things. And I was like, trauma is trauma. But I was sharing once, like, I was in high school, and like, a lot of my peers, and to not follow their own, most of them were unaware because you're like 16, 17 years old, and like, life is good, I have both parents. Like, to me that was wild. So you got both parents? What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? What
And-
made your parents stay together? What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Like 3 square meals and all this other stuff. It was rad. Like, like setting the standard so low. But no, like, like, oh, like, hi man, we're going to a party, and they'll like come and pick me up, and I was like, oh man, like I'm going to a party. And then like some like little things, like somebody like shows up with like a case of PBR, and like all of a sudden like my anxiety starts to like, and then like somebody starts like smoking some weed, just put it in that bowl, bro. Yeah, and I was, and I went to Boise High, class of '98, so we were all smoking weed apparently. We were not.
If anyone's watching this, it's past the statute of limitations.
Yeah, us 1998. Settle down, Idaho.
Settle down, geez.
But no, and it was just one of those things, like I will hang out, and then all of a sudden I was just like weighing in the pros and cons at 16 and 17, where like everybody else was just like trying to determine whether they're gonna be able to like make out with somebody or not, or if they're gonna like look or not look cool while they're talking to somebody.
Yeah.
It was always it comes back to me, and I'm super stoked that my children will never have to experience anything like that, nor will I hang it over their heads. But it's, there's a lesson to be learned there somewhere, and I wouldn't want somebody else to have to go through that. I wouldn't want, somebody, else to go through like the thought process of like, I am gonna have to do this one thing so my loved one doesn't have the ability to be here as we raised our child together. And it seems like, from the outside in, for anybody that has no idea of like the immigrant experience, which I think is silly, because if you live in the U.S., you're either First Nation Native American, or you came from slavery, or you are an immigrant, or you were a colonist.
Colonizer. That's right. And immigrants and colonizers are different.
Colonizer, excuse me. So, like, why is like immigrant history not more transparent and more, presented in a way that is easily to digest for everybody?
Right. I think we all know.
Well, we know why. Yeah, white supremacy. But anyway, but yeah. No, feelings were hurt. I have a black friend. So yeah.
Yes.
I had those conversations recently. I'm just like, oh my goodness, Karen.
Yeah.
So, but I say that because, bringing things full circle and not to just be a Debbie Downer, as they say. It's not difficult to explain, but it's beyond exhausting to have to explain it and relive it and be expected to do so.
Yeah.
Like why would I, why would I put myself in that position? Like, it's the information is out there.
Yeah.
Like, you're so busy Googling like the million reasons why you shouldn't get vaccinated, but you cannot go down the Google rabbit hole as to how, like, you know, we're a nation of immigrants. But
that's right. And then it's also such a big piece of yourself. And I mean, it's more than, I think, just something that you know or that you've experienced. Like, it is who you are. It's a piece of yourself. Like, we don't get to choose where we're born, but we can choose whether or not we choose to give ourselves or our children a future. And so to tell that story and to put so much of yourself out there for somebody to judge, that's what you're essentially doing every time, because the person can have a great response and then you're like, oof, or they can have a terrible response then you feel that in your chest.
I used to.
You used to?
Oh man, there's this big old like Mario Bros. Like Koopa shell around my heart now.
Very specific.
And I just, I like video games. And it's just like, oh really? Speak to me some Navajo then. Tell me how American you are. Fucking douche rocket.
I'm gonna use that now. I like this. I like this a lot.
Yeah. All right. So the Alliance, before we leave that subject, please support. If you're watching this, once it's on our YouTube channel, right below, you'll see the link for the Alliance. You'll see it for this episode. Guess what? You'll see it for all the episodes prior to. You can go to their website, learn about our mission, learn about our intent, the things that we have done, the things that we're looking to accomplish. With that said, we cannot do it without your support. So we're going to be fundraising. So if, as you start approaching the holiday season, we're not there yet. We haven't done the killing of the first people's, fucking turkey dinner. We'll get to that. But, after that, holiday season starts. So if you want to use all of that guilt, from being born, from a long line of colonizers, that's not your fault. But you can make a difference. Grab some of them monies. Are we taking Ethereum yet? We're not there yet. No crypto yet. But, just consider helping us so we can help, everybody else. Like I said, immigrant rights are human rights.
Yes.
And, there's the 4 that we talked about. So, you cannot help. There's nothing that you can do about the past. But, from this point on, moving forward, if you would like to be an ally and you would like to help, we are taking monies. We're always taking monies out, but we're going to have a really cool fundraiser, and there'll be more on that on our website, and you'll learn more about it here in the very near future. But as you are looking to, put your money where your mouth is, consider the Alliance.
Yeah, the Alliance is a good one.
It's a good one.
It's one of the good ones.
Yeah.
They're one of the good ones.
Okay, let's make it more about you now.
Oh.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
Tell me about your PR consulting firm, please.
Sure. Okay. So my PR consulting firm actually was born completely out of necessity. And so I was let go from a job unexpectedly. There's a lot behind that.
I get let go all the time, girl.
Do you?
That's not true. I was trying to make you feel good. I have a very long track record of success whenever I'm just trying to relate. I was just really trying to make you feel good. It's actually not even success. It's just I was in the military for 12 years. And, they're not really going to fire you unless you start killing the wrong people. And even then, you might still keep your job. So
I've heard.
Fucking crack smoking Christ. Sorry for you, Christ lovers.
You can just heard part Ellen. She's trying so hard not to laugh out loud.
So, yeah, I relate.
Yeah, sure.
Prior to that, I'm sure I got fired sometime. Tell.
I did get fired. And so I didn't have anything else lined up. I had a mortgage, I had a family. And so Lionheart Consulting was born out of that situation because there were several things that kind of went into it. Number one, I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. I never wanted to be a business owner. I was never of that mentality of like, I don't want to report to anybody. Like, I was a straight A student, and straight A students love reporting to people and getting gold stars.
Yeah.
Like, we don't think outside the box. Like, those are the C average students. A average students end up working for the C average students. It's all messed up. All we can do is regurgitate and follow the rules.
Yeah.
So I did not want to be that. I was like, somebody please get rich off of my labor. This was like my life plan.
Yeah.
So
capitalism.
I know, it's great.
Yeah.
And so this was started, and I was I mean, there's so many people, I think, that to think this is never, I think, honestly, somebody who can say that they're even a certain degree of successful can never say that they are so because of themselves and themselves only. Like, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is a myth. Everybody has help.
Yeah.
And so there were so many people who told me, Rebecca, I will give you money to do what you were doing, but just like by yourself. And you can do this. And I was like, I mean, we talk about imposter syndrome, and everybody hates hearing about that because it's that victim mentality kind of like link for a lot of people. But it's so real because I'm like, I can't do these things. There's nobody to like tell me what to do. Like, I need a puppet master. I'm not smart enough to do this by myself. I'm not good enough. I don't have anything to offer. And other people would tell me, like, there are no PR firms in this area that speak Spanish and that know the community and that the community know them, like the Latino community.
Yeah.
There's no
the
such
network.
thing. Yeah. And they're like, that's valuable to people. And you should, you know, you could be serving your community by making those connections and making sure that they are getting the resources that they should be getting but aren't. And I had to be convinced. It took well over a month of multiple people being like, you can do it, Rebecca. And then I was like, all right. And so I just like Googled, how do you even start this? I don't know. And, you know, it was incredible because, again, because of all of the people who really stuck their neck out and who helped, I started getting people like clients that would then word of mouth to other clients. And then, you know, within less than 3 months, I was turning like a decent profit. Ooh. And it was outstanding. And I still didn't believe in myself. So that I got this job with Planned Parenthood, also because of the health insurance. I really wanted health insurance. And my undocumented spouse at the time could not get it for us. So, but I still didn't believe. I was just like, oh, you know, I just had 3 months of lucky, you know, of being lucky. And it's because of these other people. It's not because of me. Yeah. And all this crazy stuff. And so I've attempted on multiple occasions to, you know, dissolve Lionheart Consulting. And it keeps going. And people keep just wanting to give me money. And I'm just like, all right, I guess if you want to, I guess I'll take your money.
That is so great. That is so awesome. You know, we were teasing earlier. But like, if you look like, you know, if you look at my LinkedIn, it just seems like success, success, success. But when you like really pull that onion apart there, Ellen, or camera person, camera lady in charge, is that the right pronoun?
Sure, yeah.
She, her? Okay.
Person who is not named Emma or Ella.
Yeah, no, close.
I'll get a shirt.
Thank you. Thank you, Ellen. But no, like if you peel that onion, it's just like failure, 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 fail, 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 you know. And it is so funny because like, oh man, like Jaime, you got your shit together. I'm like, do I? Do I? Like, where does it say that? I want to know. I want to know. Tell me. And you know, and you know, yeah, there has been some wins. And I think perhaps maybe another thing that we might have in common, we seem to focus on the losses because that's how you learn.
Maybe that's
You're gonna learn tonight. I was like, I'm sick of learning.
I'm sick of learning.
Every night and during the day. Fudge rocket. But no, that's just super cool to hear. That's inspiring and that's really awesome. It warms my heart because I definitely deal with imposter syndrome like all the time.
Really?
Yeah, but I'm also very full of myself. not like in the
How
bad,
do you manage such
not like in
things?
the bad way, but kind of like in the charming sort of way, you know, kind of like, you know, like I have a really hard time, like I just somehow along the lines I program myself, and maybe that, you know, I guess like, you know, one of the good things of like, you know, coming out of the Marine Corps after 12 years is like I belong anywhere and everywhere. So, you know, I walk in there like people owe me money. Not like I own the place, but like they owe me. But, you know, like over time, then you're just like, what am I doing here? And what am I supposed to do? And like, and how do I do it? Why is this happening? Just like, it's just weird and it's silly. And like, as I continue to get older, you know, and more mature, I just keep thinking that I'm going to just master that and just compartmentalize it in a way in which I don't have to deal with it. Or perhaps maybe that's why I deal with it so much, because I've compartmentalized it so well. Now it just comes back to haunt me all the time.
You're either really good at it or really bad at it.
Yeah, but nobody can tell. So I got that going for myself. I got that going for myself. So, but it just makes me so happy that for you, it's just like, oh, I'm trying to fail, but here I am winning. It's like,
I think a lot of people can identify with like accidentally stumbling onto some success.
Mm-hmm. I stumble upon my wife, and it's the biggest success of my life.
That's so sweet.
It's just like she could have done so much better.
That's so
it's
sweet.
Cool. It's cool. It's cool.
I think a lot of us feel like, you know, I'm accidentally successful, but you know, why? I don't know. It just
there's some hard work in there.
I'm sure there is.
There's you know,
for most people. Yeah,
and I have no doubt. Where do we see ourselves in 10 years from now?
Well, that's a good question, because I'm at, you know, I think a lot of people right now are in this weird, like, what am I even doing with my life, living as a corporate slave?
Oh, I thought you would say, like, I'm at a crossroads, and then I was going to have Jeston in the background. Boom, bones, boom, bones, boom, bones. See you at the crossroads. But,
look at you. You really are a 90s kid.
I was born in 1980, so yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But no Bone Thugs and Harmony because copyrights and whatnot. So like,
I mean, you nailed that singing.
Probably not, but that's okay. Thank you.
You might be in trouble for copyright. That was incredible. They might be kind of pissed.
And Jeston wouldn't know who Bone Thugs and Harmony is anyways, because he's 25.
Oh my gosh.
So, yes, they are.
They are still.
They are still touring. Yeah, not all of them, but they come to Idaho. Yeah, over at like.
I've actually taken care of them several times.
You taking care of them, whatever that means.
I drive them back and forth from the airport when they come to town.
I was trying to be highly inappropriate. I'm sorry there, Erica. You call, yeah. It was like it was funny in my heart. So yeah. Good group of cats.
Yeah.
So you're at crossroads 10 years from now. What was Rebecca de Leon?
I'm one of those people who, like, in the middle of the pandemic was just like, I don't want to be a corporate slave anymore. I'm definitely sick of the grind, and so I applied for an MFA in creative writing at the University of Texas at El Paso. And I'm also going to apply at Boise State, but they're my second choice.
They're your second choice. Don't say that out loud. BSU watches this shit all the time.
Yeah. Sorry, Marlene Trump.
They have no desire to waste their time watching this show. Which is a damn shame, because Argos Productions does such a great job. Plug.
That's true.
Inserted.
Great job. So seamless.
So very. I'm so
incredible.
Good at it. I cannot believe we don't have tons of sponsors. We're killing it here.
Genius.
Best thing to happen to YouTube scenes. Insert whatever streamer on YouTube that makes a lot of money doing YouTube.
It's all about TikTok now, by the way.
I can't. I'm
like so old.
I am old. I'm 41 years old. There's just like it's 2 syllables with 2 Ks put together. I mean, they got 2 vowels by accident. TikTok.
Yep.
No, I'm good. I can see it on the Instagram reels.
Oh, okay.
It's just good enough.
Instagram Reels guy.
Yeah, I'm a gram kind of guy. Anyways, we're talking about you 10 years from now, MFA.
Yes.
University of El Paso.
Yes.
I hear that's in
University of-
Texas.
Yeah, it's UTEP, I think.
Yeah,
is
and
like
then
the
a second strong choice is BSU.
Well, I got my bachelor's at Boise State, so you know.
So they already took
been
your
there, done
money.
that.
Yeah,
it's like,
they got paid.
so old by now.
Yeah, and it's just like,
Oh gosh, I just don't even get lost on campus anymore. Like, what's the fun in that? So I want to, like, ever since I was a little kid, I've always wanted to be a writer. I've always wanted to write a book. My dad was always like, you're extremely melodramatic. And he meant it as an insult, but I took it as a compliment.
Really?
Yes.
Well done.
Yes. Ooh,
Yeah.
goodness.
My parents used to tell me that as an insult, and I took it as an insult. That's real good. I like what you did, though.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Dad. All right.
Fuck you, Dad, I'm great.
Show you, fucker.
It looked like me throwing myself on the floor and crying because that was melodramatic. But
Right.
I was like,
gotcha. And my parents didn't say that. It was actually my teachers and
everybody else.
and like my friends.
Police
My
officers.
parents were actually pretty good.
Your
to me.
mailman.
Yeah. They have a mail person in Panama. But yeah, again, about you. Continue.
Yes. So I mean, I wanted to be everything. I was one of those kids. I was like, I'm going to be president, and I'm going to be an attorney, I'm going to be a senator, and I'm going to be a mermaid, and I was going to be all of those things.
Yeah.
And
Glitter bomb.
yeah. 0% of that was I'm going to be a business owner, and I'm going to work in PR and marketing. And the only reason why I'm in PR and marketing is because I wanted to be a writer. I thought it was the only thing I was good at. And so when I went to college, they were just like, ugh, writers don't make money. And I needed to make money. I was extremely poor. And so I tried to translate what I really loved into something marketable, so then I went into journalism. And turns out journalists don't make shit.
Yep.
They
Also
do
true.
not make good money. They don't even make a livable wage.
Just make that. Might as well would have gotten that psychology degree and then just be like, yeah.
I mean, it's just like journalists and like liberal arts majors.
I'm kidding. I'm sure if you got your psychology degree at some point in time, 20 years later, you'll go and get that master's. You got it.
Yeah.
They won't.
Yes. Well, I mean, unless they want to do a career change like me and be an artiste.
Yeah, an artiste.
Yeah. And then journalism didn't pan out for me. Then I tried to market my skills in marketing, and it killed my soul a little bit, even though I do love my work and I love advocating for the things that I've advocated for. I've advocated, obviously, for immigrant rights. I've advocated for, just like a bunch of I'm just outraged about everything at all times. And so I had to make a living, and I finally did, and I have a house, as we have mentioned. It's like my crowning achievement. And so
It comes with bills. Though.
I know. And so those have to be upkept.
Oh, shut up.
It's not easy. And so I don't know. I have to keep on the grind. I've got people to support. I've got a house to maintain. So I have to keep on the grind, but I want to reconnect with what drives my soul. And what drives my soul is expressing myself in this very particular way. And so even just the application for my MFA was an experience for me that I've, because it was a 25-page work of fiction that you have to submit with the application.
Really?
And I've never had to sit and write something like that, create this thing, and then hand it to people who know how to do it and have them judge me. And it was such an experience. And by the time I was done with it, I was like, this is what I want to do. I was high. I was just high off.
Well, that's
everything.
cool. You earned it. You could have also just set aside $300 and would have gone to www.brokeprofessors.com and they would have written that shit for you in one day. But you earned it. So that's pretty cool. I mean,
it wouldn't be
I'm joking.
My dumbass on a platter. This is what I was trying to deliver.
I am so very kidding. And,
and
I kid about a lot of things too, because I know sometimes I inject
really
capitalism. Because when I say capitalism, for example, it's capitalism needs an update. It's just because I'm fairly capitalist, and I want to accumulate wealth in order to better help my family and those around me.
Yeah.
However, capitalism as it exists right now is more for me, you know? And then everything else that trickles down never really trickled down.
Yes.
Fucking, thanks, Reagan. Oh, I'm sorry, thanks, Obama. One of you. Yeah. Sorry, I'm throwing it back.
Update.
I'm really throwing it back now. Like people are like looking up on Google and shit. Anyway, but like trickle down economics and whatever. So, but yeah, it's just it's just a thing, right? So like you want to get out of the corporate nightmare, but like you do have to pay bills. You know, mortgages are a thing, and those have taxes included. And when like housing in the area that you live at just getting out of control, those taxes go up, and then like hopefully your furnace is not like 20 years old when it should really apparently be getting changed like every 7 to 10 years.
Yeah, nobody tells you these things.
Nobody tells you those things. And they're expensive.
Yes.
So expensive. It's like
So
the second largest expense unless like your car gets used, I don't know, something.
It's a lot.
So yeah, adulting is
Adulting.
it's
a thing.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, oh, like just work hard. Yeah, that's gonna do it. Anyways, separate episode for a different time. It's just my stupid rants. That's why nobody watches the show. Somebody told them, it's like, yeah, he just rants and just gets angry because capitalism hasn't been updated yet. I just want everybody to eat. That's all I want. I just don't want somebody to eat so much that they're trying to colonize the fucking moon when there's shit to fix here.
It's so true. I mean, we are so privileged here, and we're so privileged to be Americans. And I mean, I recently just went to Mexico and visited family there, and I mean, it's always so grounding and so eye-opening to just like, I just came home, and I've never been so depressed to come back home from time away before, because it's just like, we have people here who are just losing their fucking minds over a vaccine that can save lives, whereas people in Mexico who need access to that vaccine can't get it because it's literally just not available. I just got a booster shot. So I went to the buffet and then came back for seconds, and they haven't even got their first tray yet.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're so fucking spoiled here, and we don't appreciate it. And they're just like the kindest people, at least my family. I don't know about y'all's family, but like my family is
okay.
awesome.
We're not going to tell them.
They're
fucking great. Okay? Settle down. Yeah, we have it pretty good.
Yeah.
I will also argue that we can still make it better for everybody else.
Yes.
And I think that's where I, again, not to be the old negative Nancy.
No, I mean,
but we have the means. We have the means so
do.
everybody can eat, and the fact that not everybody is eating. And when I mean everybody, I mean everybody, not just like, oh, there's Jaime talking about immigrants again. Like, no, like you too. There, Bob, fucking Bob. I want you to eat too. Motherfucker. Anyway.
Fuck you, Bob. I'm so pissed at Bob right now.
We gotta switch it up. We cannot just be Karen all the time. I've been trying Linda's here and there, and
Stop,
then like I
they
miss
might
somebody.
start using Rebecca. I've seen
No!
it. Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh, no, please stick to Karen.
Or like Jaime's.
No,
they're not gonna use that. No, it's a J
It's not
that
wide
sounds
enough.
like an H. Yeah, it's just no.
It's just
Have
too
fun.
much.
So, okay, Rebecca, it's plug time.
Plug time.
You get your own camera. You get to look at it, make a connection with the 3 people that are watching. I joke. I am joking, by the way. Okay, my poor producer over here is just.
We love all 4 of you.
It's like hundreds. But yeah, tell the peoples that are watching, about your consulting firm. If you want to talk about whatever, this is your time for you. Sell it, girl. Sell it. You can do it.
I mean, yeah, my consulting firm. It's actually bilingual, so it's Lionheart Consulting, but
Pero.
That
means but in Spanish. I'll shut up.
Thank you. Thanks for that. That reminds me, wait, real quick. That reminds me of like on SNL. When they made that joke when El Nino, the tropical storm, was like a really big thing, and they're like, it's El Nino. That's Spanish for the Nino.
Okay. I don't need your mom jokes on my fucking show, okay? I'm in charge of those. Plug time. Tell the people how you can make money off of them, okay? Please.
Please give me your money. My prices are unreasonable, but pay me anyway.
Also not true.
No, that was just my imposter syndrome coming out again. I'm very worth it. So the URL, if you do want to take a look, it's Corazón de León, which is lion heart. My last name is de León. It's heart of lion, Corazón de León. So it's corazón-deleón.com. And there's a form there that you can reach out to me and tell me what your deal is, what you need, and I will respond. And yeah. I mean, listen to the Latino card on Radio Boise every other Tuesday. So starting this coming Tuesday, which is November something.
Oh.
And at 3 p.m., Radio Boise. Or you can visit their website and listen to the Latino card and educate your damn self. Because our biggest thing is, representation matters. Our biggest thing is you can't be what you can't see. And, calling out the inequities when we see them.
Mm-hmm. All the things.
That's what's up.
And then again, if you're watching the YouTube, the links is below. Click on that sucker and it'll take you right over to her.
That's right.
Cool. Well, Idaho, that's all we got. I cannot do this anymore. My face hurts. I'm having a good time. I cannot risk calling Ella by a different name again. What? It's Emma, isn't it? Ellen. We're never going to get picked up, man. We're going to keep on trying, Justin. Jeston. Now I fucked up his name, too. We're leaving. Idaho, it's been great to see you. Argos Productions, the best of the best. Yes. They'll do the things. Film. Digital content.
Put up an ADD riddle.
Big one. They just been doing stuff for the Ann Morrison Center for the Arts. I mean, they're legit. They're great. They're great. They're awesome. They let me use their studio. Why do they let me do it? I don't know. It's not for free, but still, they could charge me a lot more. I'm kidding. They charge me all the things. There's some sweat
I'm
equity.
kidding. I'm riddled with bankruptcy.
I am riddled with debt. But my wife never watches the show, so it's okay. Argos Productions, they're the place to be. Check out their link. Check out their website. Erica, Jeston, Emma, Ella, Emma, all three of you packed into one. Thank you so much. And to my guest, Rebecca de Leon, please go check out her consulting firm. O en español también, si necesitas a alguien por los servicios de relaciones públicas, Rebecca de Leon es la persona que te puede ayudar.
Yo estoy aquí por ti.
Thank you very much, Idaho. I appreciate you. I love you a long time. Last but not least, my buddy who's on the hospital, Drew, I love you. You got this. I'm going to come see you again. We'll be playing games soon. Love you, brother. Idaho, get out there. And when you get a chance, be kind to somebody. Cheers.
Bye.
Hi. So I'm just signing off on my Instagram live. I want to thank everybody that was on there and saw that I was working on this. I'm just gonna set this aside for a second and tell you what's going on. I am in the final process of painting the throne for Idaho Regional Ballet. On December 11th, we will be helping them live stream their Nutcracker, and I am the stage manager. So I'll be backstage, and Justin will be stream stage, as I'm going to call it, running the stream. We're going to practice all week with some great camera angles. We had fabulous camera angles last year from using 5 cameras, but this year we have an audience as well as the cameras, so it's going to be a little trickier. So I'm really excited to play around with that, and please, if you have the opportunity, check out the stream. Go to idahoregionalballet.com. Their Instagram page has a link in their bio. I can make sure that there's a link on our Instagram and our Facebook at the end of the evening so that you can go and purchase tickets if you want to. But right now, I'm just going to keep creating the layers during my happy place here on Argos TV. So for those of you that didn't get to see in the beginning. We had something happened with Facebook. I'm not quite sure. So you didn't get to see that. We said happy birthday to Push and Pour. Push and Pour is 4 years old today, which is really cool. And let's see what else. Justin sang today. We watched a Beewise Gardens episode about garden plotting, which was really informative. Those ladies are amazing. We love them. Thank you. Check out Beewise Gardens and the Beewise Gardens Plant Society. They have all the great information for gardening, and gardening is good for my soul. I don't know if it's good for your soul, but it's good for a lot of people's soul, so check it out. Let's see. I am going to title this Nutcracker Throne. At Idaho Regional Ballet. So wasn't that a great episode of My Idaho Friends? I'm serious. It was. I know. It's like I think you're here. I was just doing Instagram Live, and when you're on Instagram Live, you can see when people wave at you and say hi, when they pop in, they make comments. I was just acting like I was still on Instagram Live. And live streaming December. I should have stopped this when he told me I had 5 minutes, but you know, we're here. We're fun. We're having fun. Feel free to text me if you're actually watching. That would be great. Let me know that I'm not alone. It's all right. So let's set this down. I can see if you do text me. So I've mixed my own paints, and I am now filling in the final touches, trying to give a little bit of accents here and there so that I get that thickness building. So I did texture with the gold along here. I don't, if you can see it, it is layers and layers. I took, and when I did the stencils so that I could keep building the layers, I'd put the stencil down, and there is a Instagram story on my story right now on Instagram, Daisy Air Art, that shows that I was like building, and I was like stenciling with some white primer with gesso in it and a little bit of gold, so I could build up just a little bit and a little bit so I can get some of these textures. And I really played with it, and I'm really excited about how it's turning out. So I'm just going to keep working. We are, oh, I love this pink. I really do. If I had an opportunity to do gold and green, I might have chose the green. But I think under stage lights, the pink's gonna just be amazing. And let me tell you a little bit about this. It is actually made by an Eagle Scout. So the young girl who plays Clara in the Nutcracker this year, her brother's an Eagle Scout, and he and his dad built our throne. Now, this is just the top. It is a cake. I had to figure out how to make a frosting textured layer of cake on the base. We've got tiers. This is big. This is exciting. And don't worry, when I get it all put together on Saturday, that's the deadline, you will see exactly what the whole thing looks like if you tune in to any of our social media pages, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share it. I made a fun discovery today. I thought about one of the other projects that I'm working on, because I set a goal for making 1,000 followers this year. Reaching out, really engaging, trying to be more engaged with the world and less in my little world. And I think that one of the things that has helped me do this is this stream. I mean, we've done several of these shows, and putting ourselves out there, Justin and I have really tried hard to let go of that idea that you have to be perfect and on it all the time. And that's why we created this space that allows us room to create, room to try new things, to be in front of the camera and let the whole world see you like they do in real life, but not worry about it. It's funny because we talk to each other. We're with each other every single day. We work with people that we see every day. We go to school with people. We interact at the grocery store or during our activities, mine being sporting activities or art functions or film communities or any community, okay? Think about it. You're always standing with people. You're always hanging out and talking. You're not always combing your hair perfectly. You're not always doing your makeup perfectly. So why is there such a stigma when people say you have to look your best on camera? I mean, for like school pictures or your wedding pictures, you know, that kind of camera, I get it. I totally get it. But when it comes to being real and interacting with the world the way we do in social media, the talking to the public to share our goals and our accomplishments or our failures or our fears or anything that we share on social media. Why do we need to look perfect? To look absolutely perfect. Unless we are somebody like Dolly Parton, who doesn't even leave her bedroom without being made up. By the way, that's an amazing documentary if you haven't seen it. But that's the point I'm trying to make. We don't stand in front of people every day and look all made up. Most of the time, we have our hair in a ponytail. We're just doing us, right? So when I got to a point this year with the inability to face a lot of the world at times because of this crazy life we're living right now, COVID, depression, kids growing up, family members passing away, life has just been difficult. But I did it anyway. I got up, I got in front of the camera, and I look back at some of the episodes and I'm like, wow, I didn't even comb my hair on the left side, or, you know, I didn't do this. I really screwed that up. Or, you know, life, we are human. We're acting just the same way we do when we're with people. Just like you are watching from whatever platform you're watching this on, and I'm sitting in a room painting. And I'm looking at a lot of the things that I'm painting and I'm creating, and I'm like, oh, that's not perfect. And I have the ability to keep working at it to make it something special, something I can be proud of. And the beauty of that statement is, in the state it's in, I'm over the moon. I love everything about this adventure. I feel like we need to call Sarah, our old friend, the brain cleanup coach, and have her run us through a meditation while I'm painting. And it's just very therapeutic. I keep worrying that I'm gonna miss a beat here while I'm chatting with you, and I think I might, but if I do, what did I just learn? It's okay. I've got plenty of paint. So on December 15th, we'll be back. I will not be painting the throne. We'll probably be finishing up some Christmas decorations and hopefully having a few of our past guests and friends show up. Some I know are going to be gone, so I already know that they won't be here, but we'll be singing Christmas carols. And, ooh, I went off on a tangent, so just in case I didn't make that point I was trying to make, this is my happy place. It's that thing that in the 2 a.m. I think about it and I'm like, ooh, I want to get up and paint. I want to work on it. I want to make it another level. Isn't that cool when you can do that? Do you have anything that you work on like that? Just realized I'm kind of channeling my inner Mr. Rogers. That's that's what's going on here, people. I read a post from okay, let's see. I have my top 5 skateboarders of all time that I admire and I've always followed since I was, some since I was young, and some are, probably younger than I realized, but one of them is Ray Barbie, and man, he is just his style. I really, really loved following Ray Barbie when I was younger. And so I still follow him on Instagram. And I think the reason why I started talking about that, Mr. Rogers, he posted a story about Mr. Rogers and Officer Clemens. And man, it just made me cry the other day. It's just so beautiful. The police officer that was on Mr. Rogers' neighborhood and was for many, many years. He, on their last shows, I think in 1993, he said something to Mr. Rogers about being alive right there at that moment was the greatest, because Mr. Rogers, broke boundaries and put him in the spotlight in a time when segregation was still going on in our, and I just, the love, the friendship that they had was so touching in that. I encourage you to go to Ray Barbie's Instagram and check that out. It's sticking with me right now. I didn't intend to talk about that, but when I said that, felt like I was channeling my Mr. Rogers. That moment started to well up, and I didn't want you to wonder if I started to cry a little bit what was going on. Beautiful people doing beautiful things in this world for each other. I think community is definitely one of the most important things in our society. Working together. For a greater good. So, it's 7:51. I'm going to continue painting on this well after Argos TV is over, but we have about 8 minutes left. I'm going to ask if Justin has any music he can play underneath here, and I'm just kind of going to focus on trying to get these last bits done. I might say something, but I don't want to be obligated for the next 8 minutes. I just want to enjoy the process, and hopefully this looks as cool from your angle as it does from mine. This one was when the paint that I mixed last time was starting to run out, And so I knew that I was reaching the end of the night, so I just kept using it and using it as best as I could, just so I could get one of those layers on. So I'm kind of coming in here. I want to change up that angle. I almost like moved it and I was like, oh, there's like cameras there. I totally knock them down. Here, I can push this out of the way too. But you can see it's super light. It's almost watery because I was just trying to use up the end of that, and I wanted to make sure that I got one coat over every single one of them. I really hope you guys join us for our Christmas episode. It was fun last year when we started singing, so if a couple of people come over and do it with us, it's going to be really fun. It was really fun doing those quick little live stream ones. This should be really fun to actually do some time lapse on them as well with these cameras set up like this. Let's see, what am I doing here? Gotta attach this guy, because that matches that. And then more. Yeah, this is definitely going to take a layer tomorrow, so I'll work on that, and I'll try and get some more records of this so that I can put it on Daisy Air YouTube once I get that rolling on the new year. Yeah, there's so that needs to go here. Work on this some more. I can always come back in and get more layers of the gold on. So I might go out of the lines just a little bit, because this, remember me saying that this is the first layer. And I've got these stencils. They've seen better days because you can see the gold on them, because I'll go through and draw around the gold with the gold paint marker, which I'm probably going to need another paint marker. Now this is actually a set piece, so I probably don't need to be as thorough with all of this, but it looks like it's time. Justin's producing today, and we set a goal for 8 o'clock. We made a stream till 8 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining me and listening to me ramble about being kind to each other and life, and just being ourselves and doing the things that make us happy, and being part of something that makes you happy, like painting a throne for a dance school, and, you know, giving back to your community. Yesterday was Giving Tuesday. I hope you all got to give to your charities, and I hope that you continue to support the charities and organizations that are out there doing good for everyone. Peace.